Hey guys, throwback video. I'm bringing to you guys a video, another one from my old channel. I'm trying to get a lot more of that stuff back up since, I took the time to do it. This video is from last winter, I think late December. As you can tell, there's snow on the ground because last winter we had to get pelted by frozen air and ice all winter, and now the summer's here and it's 100 friggin' degrees every day. And no room for middle ground. But today's video is going to be about a spot that I still live pretty close to, but I used to live right at the street from, would pass it all the time. It's on the main drag, McLaughlin Boulevard, going from Gladstone, Milwaukie, this area, up into Portland. It's old Highway 99, used to be pretty much what Interstate 5 is now, used to run pretty much from Canada down to Mexico. So I'm going to bring you that video now, and when it's done, I'm going to come back to you because literally within a couple of weeks of doing this video, I shouldn't say discovered, but became privy to a piece of information in regards to this video I'm about to bring to you guys. So enjoy the video. I'll see you again soon. Good day, all. I'm coming to you very loudly because I'm right next to Highway 99, heading towards Milwaukie, and we got ourselves a little bit of snow on the ground, so that just keeps happening. But I'm here because I want to show you what is right behind me, right over here. So you may be wondering to yourself, Steve, why did you bring me out here just so you could show us a big driveway with a tiny little restaurant in the back? Well, unfortunately for the time being, and I've been getting mixed reviews on whether it's going to come back or whether it's going to go somewhere else, for many a year, there was a certain something in that big old space. Hi there. That guy thought maybe I was filming their car lot, because there's a car lot behind me. Now, if you look back there, right in this region, you'll notice there's some elevated spots. That's where gas tanks used to be, and there used to be a very large object in this region. As somebody who likes fun, odd, quirky things, and this one was right in my backyard, a place I've gone to for years. I used to go here for breakfast all the time when my grandparents would visit. This place is the Bomber Restaurant. Now, why is it named the Bomber? It's named the Bomber because there used to be a World War II bomber in the parking lot, elevated right there. And unfortunately, well actually fortunately, it's been taken down because it was just going to hell. Like when I first moved here in 1992, it was in pretty good shape, but over time, birds were living in there. There was bird crap all over the place. They had to take the nose off. It was just falling apart, essentially. So it was taken down, I think almost a year ago. And I've been getting mixed information about whether they're going to bring it back when they're done fixing it up or whether they're going to put it somewhere else. Alright, so now I'm going to give you the full story as to how the Bomber ultimately ended up in its final resting place in Milwaukie. So, Art Lacey is the man who made all this happen. He owned the gas station where the Bomber was put upon, ran the restaurant. There was a hotel in the back that in the video I mistaken for an apartment complex, a little red collection of places in the back. And he got this wild idea back in 1947, World War II had just ended, about purchasing a bomber to put up at his gas station. It was family run. I'm sure they were trying to find ways to stand out, to bring people in against, more well-known gas stations. So he got this idea to purchase a bomber of some kind to ultimately do what he did, placing it over the gas station, making it a massive roadside attraction. And obviously tourists, people who come to Milwaukee, it's like, hey, go check out the Bomber. So he discovered that there was an Air Force kind of base in Oklahoma where they had stored some of these bombers that were no longer in use. And he went out there and to kind of check some of them out, and the guy that he was discussing purchasing one from told him, you know, you can't take off in this plane by yourself, you need a co-pilot. So apparently, according to legend, he propped up a mannequin of some kind in the plane to make it look like he had a co-pilot, and then took off in the plane anyway. Unfortunately, a co-pilot was needed to properly land the plane. So he ended up actually crash landing that first plane, and for some reason, the guy that he was trying to buy a bomber from, wrote it off as a mistake and let him get another one. This time Lacey agreed to have a companion with him as he flew the plane from Oklahoma back to Oregon. But above Oregon, once he crossed the border, there was a massive snowstorm, and it was almost, you know, another crash landing for him. Fortunately, he was able to set his eye on some railroad tracks, and he was able to kind of follow these tracks as kind of a general, that's where the Earth is. If I follow that, I'll be okay. And he ultimately landed okay at the Troutdale Airport. Then he had the issue of how do I get the plane from Troutdale, which is way off the eastern edge of the Portland metropolitan area, to Milwaukie, which is south of Portland. He had to process a pretty much a form that went through the state's transportation department and went all the way up to the governor, trying to say, hey, can I get a permit to transport this plane down the streets so I can get it to Milwaukie? Well, he was denied this, but he didn't care, and he got a couple of big trucks, loaded up the plane, and drove it down there anyway. And what happened was he got in trouble. He got fined for it for $10. So when all was said and done, he got his plane where he needed to get it. He survived the whole ordeal somehow. And in the end, all he had to do was pay $10. But he had put pretty much almost all his money into that plane. You know, threw all his eggs into one basket. So come hell to high water, he was going to get that plane to Oregon, and he was going to get it where it stood for some 60 years, right above his gas station. I mean, you can't make up that story. As I approach the awesome old bomber sign, literally pretty much in between these two, right here, I would be standing pretty much right under the bomber. I'd be looking right up at the bottom of it, right in this spot. And yeah, you see how it was open for there's like kind of different lanes for people to like pull up, and you can actually see kind of there's all kinds of cuts and engravings, and the snow's actually kind of helping that appearance. You can see where there's like places where tanks used to be and things like that. And actually, now that I think about it, now that I'm seeing these blocks here, I actually think that the bomber was above this. So you would have been looking up here and you would have been seeing the bomber. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure it was connected to these. And this is probably, yeah, because you can see one down there, you see one over there, you see one right there. I'm pretty sure these were the supports that were in the ground that were holding the plane up, that have obviously been removed now that the plane is no longer here. And you know, while there's gems to be found all over this place apparently, right next to this coffee shack, we have a very old American flagpole. There's actually like an eagle statue there on top of it. And you can see it's rusted, there's old chains hanging down from it. This has probably been here as long as the restaurant and the bomber itself. And I just missed my bus. Damn it all. And the restaurant back here is really awesome. It's definitely a gathering place for older folks, war vets, things like that. They have all kinds of like World War I, World War II paraphernalia on the wall, like an old bomb casing, propeller from an old plane, like an old wood propeller. And their food's pretty good too. And one more really cool thing, there's kind of a string of businesses over here that are just kind of off the road next to the restaurant. And there's a totem pole at the back end of the parking lot, which I think is just really cool. When I was younger and we'd come here, I would just be in awe of that thing. So, just a side note right next to the restaurant. And one more final cool little thing, because after all, this was a gas station at one time with the bomber above it. We have over here an old gas tank, essentially, with a mailbox attached to it. This is kind of cool. It's got the address. It's got the old readout, and it's still got the actual pumps on each side. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if these even come out. Nah, I think they're attached. Which I guess makes sense. They don't want people messing around with it. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got like what looks like an abandoned like surf business right next to it. So it's not exactly surfing weather. And there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It sucks the production value isn't as great considering the fact that the plane is gone, likely to never return. But still, it's an iconic place, you know. And a tourist attraction, at least for a brief moment, like, what the hell, there's a freaking plane in the driveway of that restaurant. Holy cow, what have we done? Anyway, so, you know, I tell the really kind of kooky story about how the bomber ultimately made it from the Midwest to here and ended up there at that gas station. I talk about the part where literally the owner was denied a permit to move the plane down the road to get to its final resting spot. And then he finally said, screw it, and got a couple guys together to help him, and they actually moved the plane down, and he got like a $10 fine or something. So I find out, after doing this thing, my buddy Nick, local Pathfinder to you, his grandfather, I believe he said it was one of the people that helped out in that dastardly deed. Literally was one of the people who was intricately involved in the moving of that airplane and saying, oh, you're not going to give me a permit? Well, I'm going to move the plane whether you want me to or not. So, you know, I go out, do a video, find this cool piece of history, and then I find out my friend's family lineage directly involved in the movement of that plane. And I hear through the grapevine, local Pathfinder verified this, that apparently in payment for getting this help moving this plane, he like got the guys like a 24-pack of beer or something like that. So I felt like in hearing that story after doing this video, I never did a follow-up video on my old channel. I was doing so much other stuff, but I felt like I had to, if I was going to put this video up again, I had to bring that little cool addition to the overall story for you guys, because, I mean, you can't pass that up. Here comes another loud truck. Crap. There's so many loud trucks in this neighborhood. Anyway, that's it for this video. Till next time, this is Steve the Amateur Historian. Another big truck. That was a motorcycle.